NASDAQ held a key level and it's setting up here. Hey everybody, in tonight's video, we're going to go through the indexes and I want to review the data dump that is going to happen tomorrow on Econ. We will go through a couple names that you should be watching for tomorrow. There's a couple names that are absolutely breaking out here and you should be focused on. But I want to cover this in great detail today. So obviously this is the Qs. I use a 55 SMA and this is a 200. As always, subscribe to this channel and click all notifications because I do post private charts in the community and you will only see those if you are subscribed and clicked all notifications, and it helps me with the algorithm. So thank you. Now, see, down, up, down, but what you're seeing is this, and that's the point I want to get across. Look at this V. Now, are we going to go through a V recovery? No, we're nowhere near going to go through a V recovery. Why? Because this is not a one-time event that got us here. This was tons and tons of spending that got us here. It's very different. Picture 2000, 2001, 2002. That's what we're going through. But there are periods of time and there are periods of disbelief. To me, we're going through a period of disbelief. Now, 284.60 is a number that everybody should remember and write down tomorrow. You need to watch that closely. We are flipping over and over. We're flipping support and resistance lines, which means we have a battle going on. Now, when you have a battle going on, what you want to do is you want to watch that line very, very closely. We very easily could have opened, traded down. Instead, what we're doing is we're seeing buying, and we're seeing buying across the board. We're going to get into some of the sectors, but take a look at this and how we're setting up here. I mean, that's setting up perfectly right in this box. Now you have a kill zone. So if you flip over this, just this line alone means you should test that 293, right? Every time you break a wedge line, you might want to remember this. You should be testing the top of that other line. That's usually where you're heading to. Please comment if you like these tips. I find out that putting these tips in there, people can utilize them for their own trading, but it does help. I do read all your comments and I do respond to them all. So now we have a situation where we're setting up and we're breaking out of almost what you could refer to as a little bit of a pendant, right? Where's that going to lead? Well, 293, and then we'll go from there and we'll see what's going on. But let's take a look at what's going on with the SOX, because that's going to lead us to a couple things that I found really interesting today. So here we are, we broke out again, easily could have pulled back, but we didn't, did we? And I think that's really pivotal for us to understand. There's no reason to go up into Thanksgiving, right? As I mentioned yesterday, we have our tax selling. The market was like a honey badger today. It did not care. People put money to work. Now, there was a lot of tax selling in other names. We're probably not going to cover that in great detail, but you can just go through the top 10 losers for the day and see what people were selling. And the majority is tax selling. But overall, the sectors look great. Now, if you're seeing this right here and you're seeing this little wedge line right here and how you are testing that 363.35, you're setting up. But not only are you setting up, they're all these names are lifting. So now you have NVIDIA today, all right, lifting. So this is perfect. We worked off the overbought, came all the way down, can't get close to the 50, and we're setting up again here. So yes, did we break that trend? Is that something we should be concerned about? I'm going to link that video at the end so you can watch that. See how you didn't break the trend yet, but this broke the trend, right? Right here. So usually when you see that, this is a precursor to telling you that it's going to break. Doesn't always work. It can always flip back over it. So it is a sign. It is something we have to be aware of. But look at the setup. I mean, this doesn't get much cleaner. Now, whether or not we have the follow through or not tomorrow, that's going to be key. But if you do, then challenging up here and challenging that 170 again is definitely on the menu. And I doubt we're going to get up there and then just roll again. You never know. But I would have this on my radar tomorrow to trade. Now, reminder, you're going to have extremely light volume, and I'm going to go over that again later, but you're going to have extremely light volume. And one of the other names that I traded today, and just candidly, I have a position in, I want to see how it trades tomorrow, is I'm watching Taiwan Semi. You're hanging in here and you're just building. You hardly dropped today. And it's really like one gut check you can always do on your trades during the day is go look at the indexes when the indexes drop and go look at how your stocks are acting. And it tells you everything. So when we took out lows on the market, this didn't take out lows. Okay. And you want to look for things like that. You always want to look for little signs like that to get some kind of edge. So when we had this massive sell down, right, we didn't have that in the same sense that you had here, right? So you have a divergence, meaning people are accumulating this. And you could see your reversal pattern right there, and that was it. I'll link those candlestick patterns at the end of this video. I would definitely familiarize yourself with them because you're seeing them everywhere. Your retail numbers were good. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. I will say this. These people are completely trapped, and you're setting up a huge break of a base into a gap fill on ANF, right into that, right in there. So could this go? Yeah, it could. And just take a look at this so you get a really good sense of it. You put in volume by price, and you can just see that gap. Also, you just know your 200's right there, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. You don't really have any volume there that's going to stop that. So if we take a look at that, then the gap fill seems pretty realistic for us to get to, and we're going to want to focus on that. Another sector that I would really start paying attention to is I'd start paying attention to solars. Okay, through the rubble, you'll start seeing new leaders. And we're seeing that kind of V here with a cup now. So here's your cup. Maybe we form a wonky handle before we break this DTL and go up. We're seeing that in some of the solar names, they look exceptional, and I would want to continue to focus on those. You did have some really big moves in retail, and let's just cover one more before we cover something else. Okay, so names like Best Buy, where you have these huge short positions and they're short, and then they go against you and they close at the high of the day. So you have a bunch of people that are going to hope that it gaps down tomorrow. And we all know how that goes because we've all been in those trades. It doesn't work that way. So expect to see, if this hits a higher high, to see that kind of panic buying coming in. So you might want to keep an eye on this tomorrow. Now, tomorrow morning for industrials, just a reminder, you have John Deere, and then we're going to have to go over this data dump that's going to happen. But just be aware of that, because if you take a look at what happened with CAT, all right, and how that moved, industrials, okay? So again, we're all sitting here waiting for the recession. Is there a recession? Is there not a recession? Market's telling you that it just very simply does not care, right? Look at that. Does that look like it remotely cares about what we think? And that's the one thing that I've always tried to hammer home. The market just doesn't care. The market's going to do what the market's going to do. Okay, this CPI number, we've talked about ad nauseum. Somebody saw something that they loved. That CPI number came out. Since then, all we've done is hang around this level. It's only, it's a matter of time, in my opinion. When you bang on a door long enough, eventually it will open. This time it didn't. Maybe it will get this, and I'm not calling a bottom, right? You're not going to have a confirmed bottom in this market. You see that double bottom right there? You need to make a higher high. This really, to me, doesn't constitute, but if it did, you need at least 411. And I frankly think that you need this as the higher high, 432. So we're just not there yet. But to look at this pattern, and this is something that I put in the newsletter for the community, this is a dragon pattern. And if you look at this, you can kind of see it, where you have the first leg, second leg, head of the dragon's up here. Here's the hump. Here's the tail. You need a couple things with it. I could do a whole video on it, but you need a positive divergence on the second RSI line. And then on top of that, you need a volume shift, and you had a huge volume shift here. So this is a pretty powerful pattern, and usually if you execute here, you get to the hump. That's usually the move. So that's what we're shooting for here, but let's see how this plays out. Overall, I think you really have to like the market. If you sat down and went through all the sectors, which I would recommend that you do, and take a look at them, you're seeing them all start to break above what? All of them are breaking above the 200. All of them, right? They're all starting to head that way, okay? And when I say all of them, they're heading that way. It doesn't mean that they're there, right? So I do want your comments, but I understand that not every single sector is above the 200-day moving average. Now, what happens when we go into Thanksgiving is we have an econ data dump, and that's exactly what we're going to see. So what do I mean by that? It means they throw the kitchen sink at us on the last day, which makes Wednesday a lot of fun. Why? Because people are away. You have light volume. It's the largest traveling day of the year. We all know that, right? So you're going to have a lot of data starting at 7 o'clock. I would tell you that this is investing.com. This is free. start looking for the 3 stars, just a quick tip. So you have building permits that are going to come out, okay? That's going to be important. Durable goods is going to be important, and it just keeps going. Initial jobless claims are going to come out on Wednesday because we're closed on Thursday. And you just kind of keep going through it, and you can just see they are just going to data dump us all day long. And it's going to just move the market very volatile in a lot of different directions. New home sales by 10 o'clock. And you can just see how much data you're going to get before you even have new home sales. But it doesn't stop there, right? At 10:30, we're going to have crude oil inventories, and it just keeps on trucking. And then we're going to finish the end of the day with this FOMC meeting, the minutes at 2 o'clock, right? And that's how we're going to finish. Then we go into Thanksgiving, and then afterwards, Friday, we close at 1. Continue to watch the leading stocks like an Apple. You came right down to that 55. You're still at that DTL. I can't stress enough how much you want to watch names like this. If you don't get the free version of the newsletter, there is a link in description below. But you just kind of want to watch these DTLs and how these things are trading, and we will go from there. If you are interested in joining the trading community, there is a link up here. It is a wait list. Simply click on it and add yourself to the wait list, and that's also the way that you can get the newsletter. All right, everybody, trade to win.